Back again, the BeBall Jones podcast. My guy Nelson and myself, we're here. It's episode 13. We're here to talk about the NBA basketball playoff play-in tournament. Um, but first, we have some exciting news that we have to talk about, man. Something near and dear to both of our hearts, man. A fan favorite of ours, our guy, the real is back. The Ville is back. Cold World No Blanket. Forest Hills Drive himself has returned and dropped the album. So I had to get my guy Nelson to speak on it, man. I want to know your thoughts on it, man. How you feel about the album, man?
Hey man, listen. The new Cole album, not one bad song. Like, not one. And I'm a Cole fan now, and everybody that know me know that I'm a Cole fan.
Yeah.
But it is rare that I'll ever say an album, a whole album. An album got more songs than a mixtape most time, or like an EP or something. But not a single bad song. Like, I could literally go to the album right now, shuffle that bad boy. Whatever come up, we good. We gonna let it ride and listen to the whole thing. Like, it's that good. Like, if I had to rate it out of 10, solid 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10, really. I gotta get a 10 out of 10. Because there's no bad song. That's what I consider a 10. Like, if that is not one bad song, like, I downloaded the whole album. I don't do that for everybody. Like, I don't care if you my friend, my family making music. Like, I'm gonna listen to your stuff, and whatever I like, I'm gonna take that. Because I ain't gonna give you the, like, I can't give my homeboy a bigger pass than I would give Drake. Like, I know for sure I like Drake music more than yours. I skip plenty of Drake songs, j.cole songs too. So whatever songs I like, I'm gonna take that. And when they come on, I'm gonna listen to them. I feel like it's better for me to download your music and actually listen to it because I like it, rather than just have it and be like, oh, well, I know dude, so I'm gonna just keep it. Like, nah. If I download your music, I like that jump. It's good. So if I download a whole album, it's tough, bro. I'm telling you, it's solid 10 out of 10. Not one bad song. What you think?
Oh, man. I agree with you saying there are no bad songs. I can 100% agree with that. But I can't go 10 out of 10. For me,
really,
10 out of 10, I don't think I've given many albums a 10 out of 10. For me personally, I have to give it like a 7 or an 8, man.
Just 7 or 8.
Yeah, man. I know some people don't want to hear that, but I think it's just because. And Cole, my guy, that's my favorite rapper, man. That's all time too. Like, he's one of my all time favorites. So I just feel like he could have executed a little bit sharper, just a little bit. So just looking back at how he executed certain albums and everything, and how I don't go based off what I do. I go based off what they're trying to execute. So what the game plan was, how would they execute that game plan? He wanted to come back and give us bars. He wanted to prove that lyricist-wise, he could come back and give us bars. I feel like he could have came a little bit harder. I think he could have came in just a little bit. Certain stuff he did, I just felt like he could have. Because honestly, if you look at his old stuff, from the warm-ups to Friday Night Lights and everything, it don't feel like he graduated too much past that. That's what kind of bothers me just a little bit, like bar-wise. Like, some of his, I listened to his jump before the album dropped. Some of his bars back then was a lot harder than some of the stuff he dropped now. Some of the songs he put out before the album, bar-wise, he had harder bars on the songs, like Album of the Year Freestyle. Bars on there, that's probably one of the most barred up songs he had. That was hard.
No, yeah, that's tough. I know that whole song. Like, I can rap that whole song.
So it's like that's what I was looking for. When he's talking about bars coming back, I was like, okay. Then I listened to the interview he had with KD on KD's podcast. Listen to that. So now I was like, okay, I took that into mind again, listen to the album again. So I was like, okay, I see what you want to do. I saw the thought process. And I looked back and thought about how he led up to it. And I was like, okay, I see what he was doing now. he was like, remember he put out his tweet or something on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, Instagram. He's like, feed me beats. I was like, okay. Then like a week later, he came with the album of the year freestyle. That's right after KOD drop. And I was like, okay. Now I see what he was doing. He was trying to prepare himself for like, he's going back in the gym. He's back in the off season to lyrically get his pen back right. So for him to go album of the year freestyle, and he put out False Prophets around that time, and Everybody Dies. Everybody Dies was my favorite song too. For him to go there, he went stupid on those two to put out an album where not too many of those songs past those two songs, album of the year, Everybody Dies. It kind of knocks it down just a little bit for me.
So I see you big into like the lyrics and the bars. Like that's where that's a lot of what would make you pick your rap music.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of see that then, but like I feel like to this thing, I feel like with Cole, I feel like, or at least with this album, I ain't gonna say all the time, but like I feel like with Cole, everything he say ain't really necessarily about like the bar. Everything he say ain't necessarily the song where you be like, oh, you heard what he just said? Like everything ain't like that. I feel like a lot of times, you know, he telling a story or he like trying to get the audience to hear something or see something, you feel me? Putting the word out there based on a message. Mm-hmm. And like I'll be here for it because I'm big on that, like storytelling and stuff like that. I'm big on that part of it, and I appreciate diversity in the music. So like for those who ain't never heard it, you might not understand, but like from 95 South, from like his song, from the song the album 95 South to 100 mil or 100 million, 100 mil, I can't remember. Those two songs, the style of those two songs so different, but both of them are like great songs. Like I could listen to either one. Like the 95 South song kind of hyped me up. I'd be like hyped off that song. And then the 100 mil had me more like, it's more chill music, but it's like they equally is great. And so I appreciate that. That's another reason why I feel like Drake probably my favorite artist, but that's another reason I like Drake so much is like, you know, Drake can sing, he can rap, he can have like tough rap, he can kind of have like chill rap, you know what I'm saying? Like everything ain't the same. And I feel like a lot of times, especially nowadays with like the newer wave of rappers, a lot of times the stuff you hear can sound the same. Like I love Lil Baby. Like Lil Baby, obviously the hottest rapper right now, the biggest thing walking at the moment, you feel me? But like, and don't get me wrong, like Lil Baby music hot, I love Lil Baby. But if Lil Baby drop an album and I just click the first song on the album and just let it play through, eventually, like a lot of times, I'd be like, I don't know when the song changed. Like I feel like these songs starting to feel repetitive. Like the styles don't change a whole lot with newer rappers and like Cole and like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, like guys that we consider greats. They can change their rap style, their rap flows. Like same stuff we get on DaBaby about. Like folks get on DaBaby like, man, change your flow up, bro. All the songs sound the same. But that be a lot of people. And they be making money off that, so I don't be mad at them, you feel me? Mm-hmm. They style and they flow be working. So they just stay in their lane, basically. Like they just get in their lane and stay in it, and they gonna make sure they eat, basically. But Cole and them can go from a song that's like real hyped up, turned up type music, like you feel me, just going at it like, hey, I'm the best, I do this, I do that, like type rap. And then they'll come down to like, hey, kumbaya, me and my people gotta come together and stuff like that, stop the violence. Yeah. And I appreciate stuff like that. So that's one of the main reasons Cole my favorite. So
yeah, like that's why I love him too, man, because don't get me wrong, I do love the good bars. Like when it comes down to like a very witty bar, some metaphors and similes and stuff, I love that. So like, that's why I like battle rap, man. Because you want to see some bars for real, get in the battle rap. Like those dudes come cut your head off. Like that's nasty. But that's a whole nother level. We ain't even trying to get into that. But so like I said before, I try to judge artists based off what their objective was. So like if you coming in this album want to tell a story, I'm judging on how well I feel like you told that story. So Forest Hill Drive, you told a story from you were a kid to basically where he was at that point in his life. All right, cool. Let's see how you execute that story. Oh, you did great. The flow was this and this was that and bars was this. All right, cool. If you're not trying to go barred up, okay, I'm not gonna judge you on how hard your bars went. I'm judging you how well you told the story.
Right.
He said for this album, he wanted to give a little more bars. He wanted to come back with the old school hungry vibe when he was, at Muhammad's crib, when he was, at St. John's in New York and start that starving artist. He wanted to go back to that with his pen. So I'm judging him based off that. Now, if you say he wanted to tell a story on off season about this, that, and the third, all right, cool. I'm judging you based off that. But you can't tell me you want to go barred up and then not execute that hard on the bar. I feel like he could have went just a little bit harder. Or maybe I'm being a little too harsh, but I never really felt Cole with the bars that much anyway. Like after the first album, I stopped caring about his bars that much. As far as like how hard the bar was. Oh man, he said what? Oh, that was a hard. Every once in a while he throws some out there and it's cold. But for the most part, I'm trying to see how does it make me feel emotionally. Like dang, he said something right there, bro. Like that jump made me think. He either makes me think or he speaks something that I wasn't able to articulate myself. And it's like, dang, bro, I respect that. Like he told a story and I felt that story. Like you said before, he's a storyteller. So that is something that I cling to. That's why I like J.Cole. So when he said I'm coming back for the bars and show these dudes that I can bar you up still and I'm nice with that pen, all right, so now I'm trying to see because I know dudes that aren't on your level of far as celebrity and everything, but they can come with harder bars. So now I'm going to see what you can do to come back at it. And I feel like he didn't go harder than a lot of those dudes that I listen to, Like some dudes just go stupid with like his freestyle he put out with LA Leakers. He went in with that. That was nasty. And I probably think that was some hard bars on there, man. Like I just feel like the album wasn't 10 out of 10. So I love it though. It's nice. I don't think it's gonna go down as one of his best albums. I think it's gonna be he has 6 albums. It's probably gonna go. I feel like it's gonna be in most people's top 3 or 4.
So what you consider Cole's best album? You still say Born Sinners? I know a lot of people love the Born Sinners album.
Born Sinner is probably, as far as albums go, Born Sinner is my favorite album. His best album, as far as I kind of go back and forth on his actual best album as far as listening to, is probably Forest Hills Drive. But his best album as far as complete piece of work that sonically fits what he was trying to do, I have to say For Your Eyes Only. So I kind of go back and forth on which one was his best. But I don't think For Your Eyes Only was a better album than Forest Hills Drive, if that makes sense.
So you say, okay, so if you were to go put them in order of best, you would probably, so you'll say Forest Hills Drive first? Or Born Sinners?
So if I had to rank it, I'll say Forest Hill Drive 1. Ooh, that's tough. Probably For Your Eyes Only 2, Born Sinner 3.
Man, so this ain't your top 3 then. I ain't concerned about after the top 3. They could kind of be placed anywhere in a way.
I don't think so. And it's still fresh, man. It's only a few weeks out. So
man, Brian, I done listened to the joint every day since it dropped. Every day it been in my ear. It has not been a day past I didn't hear at least one of the songs. It's not been a day. Like I'm gonna listen to that joint and it's crazy because I listened to the whole album like the day after it came out because it came out at midnight. I think I was already asleep. Mm-hmm. But listen to the whole album next day. Cool. Listen to the whole album again the next day. It felt even better than the day before. Listen to the whole album again the next day. Still it was like magic. I was like, bro, why is the music getting better the more I listen to it? Like what's going on? And so here we is, like, I don't know how long it's been, a week maybe since it came out, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah, something like that.
And like, it's not getting old to me, bro. Like I listen to it every day for real. So if I had to rank my top 3 J.Cole albums, I'd probably say Forest Hills Drive is number 1. And number 2 gonna be between Born Sinners and this one. Like real talk. As far as like me just want, like if I had to choose to like sit down and just listen to the whole album. I get this like still fresh on my mind and stuff. I get that part too. Like this still technically new music, but if I was gonna sit down and listen to one, I say probably Born Center's number one still. Not Born Center. Forest Hill Drive number one, and then either this or Born Center's, bro. Cause Forest Hill Drive had a lot of songs. I just be like, I really be listening. Like I be trying to hear every word he's saying. Like it's like he's speaking. It's like he ain't even rapping. He just talking, and I appreciate that. But then this one, it was like some songs up here, like height, like tempo, like lit songs. Then some songs like down here, like we just listening, we just kind of vibing out type stuff. So I definitely take that. And so, all right, so last thing, I want to give me your top 3 songs on the album.
I want to go back to the album thing. So my favorite, you asked me my best. My favorite, still Born Center number one. But the difference between that and Forest Hills Drive, I think Forest Hills Drive is sequenced a little bit better to where you're able to just start from the intro and let it ride through, no skips. You don't have to skip anything. And it, like you said, it takes you through the highs and lows like a great storyteller album should. So I think that's where the difference is in those albums. So it's just like with those albums, it differs. Born Center is my favorite though. That junk just like it got me. That album made me think a lot more. Like the thought process and stuff he put in there, his bars a little bit harder in there. Like Mo Money, bro. The bars he's put, like the way he did that song. To this day, I'm still impressed by that song, bro. Like Power Trip is a cold song, bro. Like that whole album, man. Like his production on that, like that's my favorite. Bro. I can go on all day. So that's number one for me. Forest Hills Drive is 2. That's number 3 is tough. For right now, I don't know, man. If I had to say projects and throwing the mixtapes too, Friday Night Lights is number 1 for me. Cause that gave me, it gave me a combination of Born Center and Forest Hills Drive. I can start from the intro and let it ride straight through. I listened to it before the album dropped. And I still remember bars from that. I never listened to it like that, I haven't listened like that in a while. I still remember bars from it, and I can just go on and on through it. So like that's number 1 for me. Born Center had to be 2. And it's like there and there, like it's right there. So Born Center 2, Forest Hills Drive 3. To answer your question, my top 3 songs from the album: Pride is the Devil, Let Go of My Hand, and Close.
Yeah, I can see you big into the bars. Just
doesn't even his bar song though.
But I'm saying like he's speaking in those 3 songs. Like there's a message in it.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
I'm big on that. Like bars are cool.
Because Close is kind of go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like bars are like a magic trick, man. It's like a good bar. Oh man, that's a nice bar. But after a while, it's like, you see a magic trick once or twice, like, oh man, oh snap, you did what? You start seeing it 2 or 3 more times, and it's like, oh, I've seen it before. You know what I mean? Not to disrespect the bar rappers, but it's like, so you're really gonna have to pull a crazy magic trick out for somebody to be like, wow, and keep seeing it and being like, wow. So that's why bars, I'm not super big on bars like that when it comes to rappers. So it's like, you're gonna have to really say something, like you said, a message for me to get to it. So bars are kind of like a metric for me. It's like once a good bar comes and goes, it's kind of done with, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to take a break from that song and that bar for me to get that same feeling again. So that's kind of where I'm on bars, man. But yeah, Pride is the Devil, Let Go of My Hand, and Close is my top 3, man. So what's yours?
I gotta go 95 South number 1, man. 95 South.
I knew it.
That jump, boy, Brian. That song had me so hyped, like, especially like halfway through where he kind of like pick up.
Yeah.
Man.
He went stupid on that song, bro.
Man, I love that song. No, for real. Krispy Kreme dream. Sometimes my dogs want to kill 12. I was like, boy. I love it. So 95 South number one. I'd probably say My Life number two. The one with 21 Savage. Him and 21 Savage need to collab more often. Like every project they do, they need to collab. Like they need to go and do a whole little mixtape, if we being honest. Like collaborate on the mixtape. Like, I know Cole ain't big on the features or whatever. So they need to go and collab on the mixtape. And third, I'd probably say it's between Amari. It's between Amari and I say Amari. I like I say, I like every song, but Pride is the Devil up there for me too. But I say them probably my top three. Like I guess they homeboys, which is kind of weird to me. That seems like so unlikely to be that him and 21 Savage be homeboys. Because like early on in 21 Savage career, I listen to a lot of 21 Savage. I like 21 Savage music. But the thing about 21 is like early on in his career, everything he was saying was like about murder and killing. Like that was everything he was rapping about. And then like about two years ago or maybe a year ago, he dropped that album called I Am Better Than I Was or something like that.
Yeah. And
that was exactly what it was. Like it was very like precisely named because like his rap was no longer just that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just murder and killing and sex and women and stuff like that. It wasn't just that no more. It was like really about something. Like some of his songs were really about life. And so now I guess ever since then, him and Jake, because it feels like it happened around that same time, but ever since that album, and then he had that song, that's when A Lot came out. It was on that album with him and j.cole. And it seems like ever since then, they just been like this. I don't know what it is, bro. They just go together. They chemistry and they dynamics just go together. It's perfect.
Interesting. Okay. But now that I got to listen to 21 a little bit more, I'm not too surprised that they linked up. Because 21's a real smart dude. Like he comes off as being like a jerk a little bit in his songs a little bit. He comes off being as a certain way. I ain't trying to keep the PG version of him, but he comes off a certain way on some of his older tracks. And it's like I started listening to a couple of his interviews. I'm like, this dude is really smart, and he's strategic about a lot of things that he do. And it's like, dang, like he's smart about his money, he's smart about this, he does investments, all the other stuff that you don't get from that type of rapper all the time. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be judgmental, but it's just like, you know, the stereotype is like dudes like that aren't smart with their money. They aren't the smartest person to talk to. They aren't intelligent. They don't know how to articulate themselves. And it's like he's able to do all that. It's like, dang, bro, like I'm still surprised to see him and j.cole link up like that, but you look at it a little bit deeper, it's like j.cole's a very smart dude. He's thoughtful about all these other things. 21's the exact same way. It just like with their music, it's just different how they get their message out. So it's not too surprising when I look at it like that. But first I was like, dang, it is kind of weird that 21 and Cole be homies like that. But they make good music, so hey.
It's like it was like it'd be like in the NBA. It was kind of like when LeBron James and Lance Stevenson end up on the same team and at the Lakers. It was like LeBron and Lance Stevenson gonna play together. It seemed like that. It was like they don't even like each other to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love it, bro. I feel like every song on the album good. It might be like 20 j.cole. I know y'all probably never hear this, but if by some odd chance y'all do, please collab for the people, man. Do more music for the people.
Yeah, man. So that's a good way to transition to our next one. So, LeBron and Lance Stevenson, man. So, to get into our topic, the gentleman that you just mentioned, LeBron James, had an issue with the topic we're going to talk about today of the play-in tournament, man. So, he came out late during the regular season. He was like, whoever would have been at the playoff tournament should be fired. That was a terrible idea. They should be fired.
Or whatever the case may be, or if we end up in the playoff, whatever that thing is, whoever came up with that need to be fired. But whatever.
So it's like, all right, let's see, because I think LeBron's just being salty basically, and at first I think he was cool with it just because, all right, cool, a little playoff tournament. I don't care. We ain't gonna be in that. I'm always gonna be a top seed, top 2, maybe 3 seed. I don't care about that. It's irrelevant to me. Basically being arrogant, no offense, but kind of being arrogant. And so now he getting punched in the mouth, and it's like, oh, I got to deal with injury. I got injured for the first time in years, like actually really sitting out in years, which forced him. And then AD got hurt too. It forced him to be in a playing tournament. So I think some of that coming to play when he spoke on that and looking at how the season's been played out with the shortened season, the season being extended last year all the way past the summer, and starting up this season, gave them like 2 months, a month and a half, I think, of rest for actual off season, which threw off his whole recovery plan. This season being extended out too makes it a bad idea to throw another game or two in there, which basically where he's coming from. But today we're gonna break down is LeBron right, man? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea for the NBA to have to play in tournament? So to give a little background on it, I think the original idea came out 2 or 3 years ago, man. And I think that I might be wrong on this. I feel like I'm pretty accurate when I say this, but the league wanted to come up with an idea for, I think, 3 different things. They wanted, number one, for teams to stop tanking at the end of the season and to stop just blowing, like they know they're out of position for playoffs, about 20 games left. So they'll just blow the rest of 20 games, just tank, rest their best players and load management for those players and try to get the better positioning for the draft and lottery.
Right.
Number 2 was to keep interest in the end of the season from a fan perspective for viewership and, of course, money-wise, but for the fans to keep watching at the end of the season. And 3, for the players to be into it for a something to play for. And I think all of that come together is what, and also they had an idea of a tournament in general, and they trying to figure out they want to do a middle season tournament or do at the end of the season tournament, some type of tournament to fit in there. And I feel like the bubble made that a realistic thing because it made sense last year. They had the pandemic happen. You had to figure out something you wanted to start the league back up and finish the season on. So you had to figure out something to throw in there. And all of that made sense for last year for sure. So I feel like they just perfect time, a perfect storm came together for them to throw it out there. And so with all that came ahead to last year, which gave Portland a chance to come in like j.cole put on the album with Dame Lillard speaking on there. They just wanted a chance to get in. They got the chance and proved it.
How bad did you want this win tonight?
It ain't nothing I want more. Ain't nothing I want more. I told you when I first came here, I said I ain't come here to waste my time. I came here, they gave us a chance to get in like we asked for, and that's what we're here to do. Job still ain't done, but I said, you know what I'm here for. We trying to get in. Our work ain't done yet, but we fighting for it.
The Suns went stupid last year in the bubble, went 8-0. They came back this year off the same street. And so that's kind of where the background of the whole play-in tournament came in. And so this year, they decided to, give another run. And the difference with this year is, like, of course, they don't have the pandemic. They didn't have the bubble. So with the background I just gave, man, do you feel like the league accomplished their goal with having those 3 things done? And do you feel like it's a good idea or not?
Well, I definitely think they accomplished their goal of getting more viewership near the end of the season with 2 extra teams having something to play for. I think that definitely helped in that perspective, especially with teams like Golden State and the Lakers playing each other. I feel like, and then I saw people was talking about that, like that's exactly what they was probably hoping for as the Lakers end up playing somebody like the Warriors, LeBron versus Steph Curry. Viewership on that probably was the highest out of all 4 of the playing games. But so in that perspective, I'm sure it was pretty successful. But then you got the other end of it, the negative side of that, which is you messed around and bounced Steph Curry out the playoffs. Well, they didn't do it. The Warriors just happened to lose, which is hey, they lost in a terrible way, Draymond Green. But the thing about it is bounce Steph Curry out of the playoffs and the Golden State Warriors, which is a huge fan base, and I'm pretty sure a good percentage of viewership, especially in like nowadays with kids love Steph Curry, parents love Steph Curry because their kids love Steph Curry, and Golden State just a big market, so you just bounce them out the playoffs, and then what do we have in the first round? the Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's not to down them. Those are two great teams. Obviously, they earned their way into the playoffs. Utah number 1 seed, but them some small market teams. When was the last Utah Jazz fan you met? Or how many Utah Jazz fans do you know? Let me say. How many Memphis Grizzlies fans do you know? And we live in a state, both of us live in, well, I mean, I go to school in Georgia now, so I got Atlanta and the Hawks, but we both from Alabama. So we live in a state where we don't have a professional team. So we have friends that cheer for all different kinds of teams. Ain't not one Utah Jazz fan I can commit to Memphis or the Grizzlies. Now I know guys that be like, oh, I like Donovan Mitchell game or I like John Morant game, but they wouldn't call themselves Ja fans or Donovan fans. You a Dame fan. I like Dame. You're a Bron guy. We know plenty of Bron fans. I know plenty of Dame Lillard fans. I know plenty of Kevin Durant fans, James Harden. I know plenty of them. I don't know no John Morant fan. People that be like, oh, I'm a John Morant fan. That's my boy. John Morant, my favorite player. I ain't met that guy yet. Or Donovan Mitchell. Or Rudy Gobert. So, like, that's just not happening where we from. So I know that's probably the case for a lot of places that don't have professional teams. And so you get these two small market teams playing each other in the first round. I know their ratings not good. Like, I just know that. I definitely didn't watch the first game, the Memphis versus Utah game. And I'm not saying that to, like, encourage nobody to watch or discourage people from watching if he was going to. And if John Morant, your favorite player, put that in the comments, tell me, hey, I'm a John Morant fan, because I ain't met that guy yet. So if you a John Morant fan, put that in the comments. You a Donovan Mitchell fan, please tell me, because I need to see. But I'm just not watching those games. I'm not in a hurry to watch those games. Let me say that, because I like to watch ball, period. Like, if ball on, if basketball is on, and I got the opportunity to watch it, I try to watch it. But yeah, those two teams, I'm not in no hurry to get back to my room to watch. Now, the Lakers and the Suns, I was like, ooh, this is the first time in the playoffs. Chris Paul and got these boys in the first seed or second seed, versus LeBron and AD. LeBron and Chris Paul, first time playing each other. Those things make for a good. It's more about the story than it is just about the game. Like, what is the story in the game? LeBron versus Chris Paul for the first time. They boys. Devin Booker, first time in the playoffs. All that. Great story. Who else? The Nets. Like, of course, I want to see the Nets play. Let's see how they gonna mesh in the playoffs, how they gonna play together. They ain't really had a whole lot of time to get game chemistry. Now they're here, you feel me? Let's see how they play together. The Knicks, first time the Knicks been in the playoffs in forever. Julius Randle, Derrick Rose back. Derrick Rose looked like he back. I mean, obviously he in his old self, but it's nice to see Derrick Rose hooping. Those are good stories. Utah and Memphis, it's like, it's John Morant first time in the playoffs, but I ain't really feeling it. So I feel like they accomplished part of their goals, but then they kind of backfired on Steph Curry, got bounced out. But I feel like they really was hoping the Warriors would win. I feel like that was probably the hope.
Of course.
Yeah, that was definitely probably the hope. They was like, let's hope Steph and them win. I'm sure they'll pull it out over Memphis. I guess they wasn't expecting Draymond to blow their game. But that's just what happens, man. That's part of you roll the dice like that. You run the risk of losing one of your better players. Because, like, true, by all means, like, of course, when nobody expected to, but, by some odd chance, the Lakers could have messed around and got bounced out if they lost 2 games in a row. Now, of course, we don't expect that to happen. But what if it did? We would have been sitting at home like, be in the playoffs? Like, they probably would have rescinded it like, oh, no. LeBron, the 7th seed, still Curry, the 8th seed. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Like, they would have went back on it. Like, no. Bron going to be in. Bron and AD? No. We was just playing.
Man, I feel like they would have reneged so quick on that.
It kind of backfired in that way. Luckily, we ain't lose the Lakers. No, for real. No, we definitely not doing that. Same thing. You remember folks just talking about Bron supposed to be suspended for being at that party with Drake, and the NBA was like, they're not going to punish him. It would be the same thing. It's been the same thing. Oh, no. Never mind, Bron. You good. You 7th seed, my man. Go ahead. Yeah. So, I think that part backfired on me. But other than that, I kind of like the idea just for the sake of the continuous play of those few teams at the bottom that just barely don't make it every year, because I feel like Memphis one of the teams that barely didn't make it last year. sometimes Sacramento will be that team. I would like to see De'Aaron Fox in the playoffs one of these years, stuff like that. So if they had this last year, I think the Suns would have been in the playoffs, or at least they would have had a chance to play in. Because like you said, they went 8-0 in the bubble, but it ended up not mattering because Portland won like one more game that ended up like putting them in the A seed. It didn't even matter.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to see D-Book try to fight for that playoff spot, but hey, that's what we get, man. We rolled the dice. We didn't expect the Lakers and the Warriors to be in this position, so that's just kind of what happens. But other than that, it was a pretty good idea to me. I liked it. What you think?
I think overall it is a good idea, and I'm not like Woj. I don't have no league sources or nothing, but just from what I read and seen and stuff, that's just what the league kind of wanted to get out of the play-in tournament. Mm-hmm. So I feel like from that perspective, if that's what they wanted to get done, they did a pretty good job. Because like you just said, Steph versus LeBron, Warriors versus Lakers in the play-in tournament. Now they was hyping it up like it was the freaking finals again, but it got interest, back into the last few games of the season, which is a thing you need because, like I just said, the NBA is a business and they're about ratings. You don't want to see ratings go down because that means revenue is going down till the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And I think that overall the play-in tournament is an exciting thing because it is a big unknown. You can have a team that just the Suns out the blue get hot. Oh snap, we didn't won the last few games of the regular season. Let's take the momentum going into the tournament, and next thing you know, we didn't get smacked in the face and lost, or we smacked somebody else in the face and we win. And I think that just like you said, the opportunity to see a younger team get in there, I think that's who it's really for. It's meant to showcase those younger players like a De'Aaron Fox, a Devin Booker last year, a John Morant, a Trae Young probably could have gotten in last year. So you're getting a chance to see those young stars on a separate stage besides like a rookie all-star game. You know what I mean? Like this is a bigger attention that they're getting because you're talking about playoffs. Like you're actually playing organized basketball to actually win at something. So I think you put them on a certain platform does well for you. So then you end up getting a De'Aaron Fox versus John Morant, which would be a great matchup to see. You end up getting a Trae Young versus Luka. That's two different conferences, but you get what I'm saying. Like you end up seeing those personalities and those brands collide now to see, oh snap, we get to see, instead of seeing LeBron versus Steph, you get to see Luka versus Ja. Oh snap, that's a good matchup. Let's see who comes out on top now. So now you get to push that, the young stars coming up in the league, instead of, like you said, De'Aaron Fox almost getting there for the last 3 years, he actually gets a chance to be in there now. Because he's been the 10th seed a couple of times, 9th seed a couple of times. He was an 8 seed and got bounced back down to a 9th seed. So that gave him a chance now with the tournament to be in the playoffs now. So I think that overall is a great idea. And I think the first year of putting it in was a very weird year because, like you said, nobody expected LeBron to get hurt like he did, and Anthony Davis to be hurt, and Steph to be in his position. Like nobody could have predicted that in the first year it happened. It's like you got two of your top 3 players playing each other in a play-in tournament. Like, what? Nobody expected that. You know what I mean? So I feel like overall, it is a successful thing, but the execution of it this year failed just because of who it was. But who it was made it even more exciting. Yeah. It's like who it was made it even more exciting to make it happen. If that makes sense. Because it was LeBron and Steph that gave it attention that it would have got 10 times more because it's LeBron and Steph. But it ended up hurting, like you said, because Steph got put out. So I think overall it was successful, but it ended up hurting them because now you're down one of your top 3 players in the league. Like Steph hasn't missed the playoffs in almost 10 years now. Probably has been about 10 years now. Yeah. It's 2021. He had the finals run about 2012. Since about 2012. So he's been in the league, been in the playoffs for about 10 years now. So for him to finally miss the playoffs is a weird thing to see now. LeBron first missed the playoffs 2 years ago. We haven't seen him miss the playoffs since like his second year in the league, I think. So like it would have been a weird time to see LeBron in the playoffs again. But I feel like overall success, man, just
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 a
like
weird
LeBron said.
year.
Yeah, like LeBron said, it's a weird year, man. Like he didn't want to be in it. That's a good idea for the younger guys to get in there, but I'm LeBron James, year 18, bro. Like I'm still the face of the league. I'm not in here. Come on, man. Like now it's a terrible idea because I got to play in it. But he just being LeBron, man, kind of trying to push a little narrative. But I don't think it's gonna work.
Well, I mean, like you said, man, that's it's just weird. Like nobody expected him to be in it. I think he was a little arrogant. He did. If it would have been like him in the second seed or first seed, not worried about going to the playing tournament, I'm sure he'd be like, oh man, this is a cool thing for those guys, you know, to have that opportunity, that extra opportunity to be in the playoffs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd have been fine with it then, but then the best round it was him. He was like, oh man, wait a minute. Like
Yep.
so, but I think so. Okay, so do you think they should keep it for next year? Do you think this should be a regular thing?
For sure, I think so. Just because, especially in the West, you always have a team or two. Like, you go from 6 seed down to like 10 seed. It's always be like 2 or 3 games separating those guys. So it's like, honestly, those teams probably aren't that much better or that much worse than each other. So why not have them play against each other to get in the tournament? Get in the playoffs. So I think for the West Coast, for sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Then on the East Coast, it's kind of like, from 6 seed to the 8 seed, end up being like 5 games. 8 seed to the 10 seed, end up being 3 games. So it's like it's not as competitive on the East side as much, as frequently as it is on the West. So I feel like, yes, it makes sense overall. Because like we just said, De'Aaron Fox would be fun to see in the playoffs. And it's like, bro had a couple chances like 2 or 3 years now. I remember 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, they had a legit shot to be in the playoffs, and Shaq was hyping him up because, he's part owner. And it's like, oh, we're finna make the playoffs this year, baby. We're looking good. We got the team rolling. De'Aaron Fox looking good. They had somebody else with them. I forgot who it was. I think Buddy Hield was with them.
Buddy Hield.
It was Buddy and somebody. They had a big. I forgot who it was. Oh, Boogie. That's the year Boogie was still with them. So that was like maybe 4 years ago. It's been a minute. Yeah, they had a legit chance to be in the playoffs, and it was like, oh snap! Like we finna make the playoffs, and making a 9th seed. Somebody got hurt, and it blew the chances for them to get hurt. So it's just like, dang, that's crazy. So I think they should keep it, man, because you always got that team, a team or two in the West that has a chance to get in there. Like I said, go 6th, 7th, 8th seed, 9th, and 10th seed. They're not that much of a difference then. It's just like this team got hot during this stretch of the season. Their schedule was a little bit different. This player got hurt. It's like a few percentage points difference between this team and this team, this team and this team. So I feel like the tournament would kind of help alleviate some of that stuff that goes on with the end of the season. And it gives different players a shot because, like we just said, the Kings had a shot, but they had an injury or something like that happen. So it gives them a chance to be in the playoffs instead of always getting bounced out just because you beat me in the head-to-head, or you know how the end of the seeds get put out because I had one more game than you. I had this game breaker tie over you, whatever the situation is. So I think they should keep it for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way, bro. Like I think that's something they should keep because, like we, like I said, we never expected the Lakers to be in this position. I kind of didn't expect the Warriors. Like I don't think anybody thinks the Warriors would ever be in that position if Clay never is healthy. I don't think the Warriors and nobody expects the Warriors to be in that position. So like, I feel like in a normal year, let's say this is 2K, we turn the injuries off, and guys just play a whole healthy season, nobody gets seriously injured. We're looking at a year where like the Lakers was number 1 before LeBron and AD went down. So we're looking at a year where like the Lakers number 1, probably the Jazz number 2, Clippers 3, maybe Warriors 4, or somewhere in that area. Clay is healthy. We're looking at Mavericks like 5.
Suns.
Suns would have been in the mix somewhere in 5, 6 probably. And then 7, 8. We're looking at probably Portland and Denver. I don't even know what Denver probably be higher if Jamal Murray wasn't injured. Denver would be higher. So, like, this is all hypothetical, obviously, but like, we're looking at a playing tournament possibly like Portland versus maybe Utah and then not Utah, Memphis, and we looking at maybe we're looking at probably Portland versus Memphis, and maybe like San Antonio versus maybe somebody like maybe Phoenix, maybe
Maybe.
Denver, maybe Dallas. Yeah, we looking at a better playing game. It's like now the Lakers and the Warriors was a good playing game, and then the Warriors and Memphis ended up being a good game because they were so evenly matched. But if Clay's healthy, I don't think they even in that position. And then, they not just double teaming Steph all game. That's really, if you watch the game, that's what happened. They double team Steph all game. And it was like, one of y'all gonna beat us. It won't be him. And he still had 30, but I think that we have a better game that way to be able to say, like, we're taking these two, and they most likely gonna be smaller market teams. We're looking at two small market teams play each other like all out, like win or go home type situation. And I think that probably would be better than what we end up having now. Because like we expect a smaller team or a young team to get that AC a lot of times. Yeah. We expect a Memphis to be in the AC. We expect who's AC in the East right now?
Celtics. No.
Are they eighth? No, they seventh because they playing the Knicks right now. Who's eighth? The Wizards. The Wizards end up getting the AC.
Yeah.
We expect somebody like the Wizards to be in the AC. But then we messed around and bounced Steph Curry out. Like, had the playing tournament not even been a thing, they'd have been 7th seed right now, playing against the Suns. And not 7th seed, the Lakers are 7th seed. They'll be the AC right now, playing against the Jazz. And I feel like, that probably been a little better, more ratings probably would have been on that. But in a normal year, we would expect a team like Memphis to make that AC anyway, like they did. We expect a team like Washington to be in the AC. So I don't think, in a normal year, it wouldn't even matter like that.
Yeah.
Because it would have been some teams we'd have looked at like, okay, if they don't make the playoffs, and we won't miss them. And like somebody like Dame would have been in the playing tournament in Portland, we'd be like, oh, we expect Dame to pull it off. Everybody would be like, Dame, ain't no way Dame gonna let them go home.
Yeah.
But then you got a game like Memphis versus Sacramento. It's like, whichever team wins is cool. So I feel like next year they keep they make it a recurring thing. We'll see it for what it was supposed to be in, hopefully. Memphis versus Sacramento, San Antonio versus, I don't know, Dallas, maybe. Yeah. If they drop a little lower. And then in the East, we got like Washington versus Boston and doggone, I don't know, Atlanta versus Chicago might be sliding in there. Zach LaVine have a chance to do something,
Yeah.
So next year, I feel like we'll see it for what they really was hoping it would be, expecting it to be. Something for like younger teams or maybe less experienced teams to have opportunities to push their way into the playoffs.
I think the one drawback overall from it is, I think just this season specifically, is that you add in games to the already loaded schedule. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what Mark Cuban was saying. He was like, we already coming back from a short off season. We're already coming into this compressed season where you got players playing a lot more frequently. They try to space it out a little bit better, but they didn't really. So you got players playing a lot more, and now you just added a game or two to some players' schedule. And it's like, that's not a great idea. And I think this year specifically, that made a lot of sense. But I think looking forward, the only drawback will be kind of the same thing, but you add in a game or two to somebody, and you're raising the rate of injury to a game that doesn't mean as much. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I think they were trying to figure out if the play-in games were going to be a regular season thing or a playoffs thing. And so depending on where it gets placed, it determines on a lot of things, honestly. Financially, does that count? If I make the play-in tournament, does that count as me making the playoffs? Because I mean, the playoffs, like we talked about before, each level you hit in your season, you get certain stipulations off of that. So, okay, I make X amount of more money if I make the playoffs. So that counts as playoffs. Now I get more money coming in. So it's like different stuff like that you got to think about. But I think overall the downside of it is really injury because you end up having De'Aaron Fox versus John Morant, or one of them going against the Spurs, or Zach LaVine going against the Wizards or something. It's like, oh snap! Now you got a Zach LaVine versus Bradley Beal. That can be like for hoopers. That's exciting to see. Like you seeing two guards go at it like that. Like if you take Westbrook off, that's more exciting because I feel like the Wizards probably should win that. But you know what I mean. So it's like now you get to see a younger star going against another younger star. It's like, oh snap! Give him a year or two, give him a nice piece or two. Next year he could do more damage. But I feel like the downside of this is really going to be how the schedule gets played out, and if somebody gets injured from this, that's going to be a big drawback. But I think the injury thing shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I think the schedule being compact like this is the main issue. So that's the one drawback I will say against it, is that you're leading to, I don't say games being pointless, but it's like if I'm already 7th seed, I got to fight for my spot again. Like, dang, bro, you add another game to my schedule to already do it. So I just feel like that kind of has a drawback to it. But I feel like overall it's a great idea, but that's the one little drawback I would say from
Hey man, fight to get that 6th seed. Because you got to think about it. Okay, you got to think about it. Only seeds 1 through 4 have home court advantage in the first round, and only seeds 1 through 3 have home court advantage for 2 rounds, if they all presumably win those first rounds.
Yeah.
No, wait. No, 1 and 2. My fault. 1 through 4 have home court advantage in the first round. Only 1 and 2 have home court advantage in the second. Only 1 could have home court advantage all the way through. Like given, like they'll have home court advantage the entirety of the playoffs. But the thing about guys fight a lot. Teams fight for that spot so they can have home court advantage. So then you only have 2 spots of no man's land, of 5th and 6th, right? So let's say, like you said, from 5th to 8th, only be about 3 games difference. From 8th to 10th, be like maybe 1.5, 2.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, which is why this is more relevant. So you have teams like the Trailblazers who at the end of the season was going to make the playoffs, but they was fighting not to be in the play-in tournament. Same thing for the Lakers. They was competing. They was trying to win games to make sure they got out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
So those games meant something. They fighting for their spot. If you 5th and 6th, you need to win these games so hopefully you can have home court advantage in the playoffs. Those games mean something. Same thing if you 3rd and 4th, you got to keep fighting. Make sure you keep home court advantage. So everything now, like I think they accomplished their goal. Like now, those games mean something. In the last 2 weeks of the season, you got 7 games left, 7, 8 games left, maybe. Them games mean something now. Instead of like guys could like some teams will clinch a playoff berth and start resting their guys.
That's right.
Like, all right, if I'm 6th seed, if we lose 3 more games, we'll be the 7th seed or the 8th seed. Or you might not want to be the 8th seed because you don't want to play no 1 seed. But if we 6th seed, these last 3 games, forget the last 2 games. We good. We'll be 6th seed. Mm-hmm. But now it's like we the 6th seed. If we lose 2 games, we might drop 7th, and we might have to play for our life. Yeah. So like I ain't trying to do that. So I think they accomplished their goal. Like games mean something over the whole totality of the season. It's like all these games mean something to every single team. Like if I am even close to making the playoffs, if I'm in the 10th seed, we got to win these games, make sure we get that play-in tournament, give ourselves a chance. If I'm in the 8th seed, I'm trying to get to the 6th seed, so I ain't got to play for my life. I ain't got to play in a play-in tournament. Same thing if I'm in the 6th seed or the 5th seed. I ain't trying to drop down. If I'm in the 5th seed, I'm trying to go up so I can beat home court advantage. So all the games mean something now. And I feel like that's part of why they did it too. So there's no more, like you said, only if I'm just like bombing. If my team is just terrible, if my team is the doggone Rockets this year, or the if I'm the Rockets this year, or if I'm the Raptors, a team Yeah, the Magic. If I'm a team that's just like absolutely not gonna make the playoffs, I have no reason to not try. Like, there's no, like you said, like there's no more tanking unless I'm just terrible. Like All-Star break, we got 8 games, 8 wins, type terrible. If I ain't that bad, I got something to play for all the way into the end until I'm just guaranteed not to make the playoffs. So I appreciate that aspect of it. Like now we got stars playing, stars got to play, or their team might be fighting for their life.
Yeah.
Ain't no more resting their guys.
I think, like you just said, it made the 6th seed fight a little bit more, even the 5th seed, like we talked about. Like when you get to a certain point, you got your upper Western Conference teams 1 through 3, maybe 4. They lock in. Like you got the Suns were locked in years ago. The who else was up there? Jazz was locked in years ago. Talking about not years, but you know what I'm talking about. It's hyperbole, but they were locked in a long time ago with their spots. And it's like if the Lakers in the regular season, they would have been locked in a long time ago. So it's like, all right, top 3 seeds, we good, we chilling. It really don't matter to us. We got home court advantage. We can rest our players. We're good. All right, 4th seed, you kind of iffy, just depending on what year it is and what the team is. 5th seed, you still a little rocky too. 6th seed, you on that bubble. Like you just said, we good right now. We're in the playoffs for sure. But then we lose a game or two, miss a game here. Oh, snap. Now that 7th seed, now we're on the tournament. And so I think the old thing used to be we're fighting for matchups because you don't want to be, like you said, you want to be the 8th seed and you got to fight to play LeBron in the first round. You're getting smacked in the face more than likely. You might win that first game because that's what LeBron do historically. He always loses game 1. But then you're having a gentleman sweep and he only makes 4. Or you get hot and win this game, but we all know he winning the 6 out of those next few. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all about matchups when you get to the playoffs overall. And so now the thought process gets a little bit deeper. It's like, dang, like this year, you ducking because you got a 3rd seed ducking. They don't want to be the 2nd seed because I don't want to play LeBron in the first round. 2 and 7 play. The Lakers were 7. So like, dang, we win the 2nd seed. We got to play LeBron in the first round. So now the top seeds can't rest either because, like I said, it's matchup. So in a year where, especially in the West, like if Dame was cooking in that tournament, the last few games in the season, he cooking in that tournament, he come in and play a 7th or 8th seed, you might want to face Dame in that first round, bro. So it's like, dang, bro. Now the first 2 seeds, the first 3 seeds got to think like, dang, can we match up with Dame that well and CJ and Jokic and Melo? Oh, snap. All right, so now we're the 2nd seed. Let's drop 3rd seed. Dang, okay, 3rd seed now. They got 6th seed. Let's move up to 2nd seed. So nobody is safe anymore just because, especially in the West, because it's like the matchups make everything. And so you catch the wrong player at the wrong seed, it's a whole different ball game now. So I think that, like we said before, brought another level of interest to the game that hasn't been there. I want to say probably all of our life, man. At least as far as we know, like we haven't had this much interest in the end of the season probably ever. So I think that's a successful thing that they should keep in there, man. So I like it overall, man. I hope it stays and I hope it's more effective than it was this year because it kind of sucks not seeing stuff. But
I hope it's more ideal.
More ideal.
4 young teams, maybe 1 veteran team like the Spurs or something, even though they even kind of young now. But I mean, they still have that veteran presence of like DeMar DeRozan and Patty Mills and stuff.
Yeah.
But just more ideal. Like we don't have LeBron versus Steph Curry in the playing tournament. Nobody expects that to happen. Like if they implemented that in the beginning of the year, like, all right, so this is gonna be the first year we put in our playing tournament. The 7th seed gonna play the 10th seed, the 8th seed gonna play the 9th seed, have it shake out, whatever. We'd have been like, oh, cool. We've been saying the same thing. We saying, oh, cool. It might be like Chicago versus Washington. Might get to see Zach LaVine versus Bradley Beal, or like John Morant versus De'Aaron Fox type stuff. That's been the general thought of the public at that point if they said that in the beginning. We might get to see some cool matches we ain't seen yet. And then we end up seeing LeBron versus Steph, and we was like, nice, but now we ain't got one of y'all ain't gonna be in it most likely.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. I just hope it's more ideal next year. We get to see cooler matchups that we expect to see. Not that, of course, LeBron and Steph, we want to see them play whenever. Like them, everybody favorite players on two big teams, two big markets. But hopefully this is more ideal for the league so we don't end up losing one of our favorites before it even starts.
Yeah, man. So I think we just pretty much agree, man. Like overall, it's a great idea. It wasn't, like you said, the most ideal thing with Steph being out, but I think success, man. So that's it for me. I ain't got nothing else to add. You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I like convo. Good discussion here.
Yeah, man. But of course, like I've been saying the last few episodes, man, the conversation should not end with this podcast when we stop recording. I want people in the comments to let us know, man, how do you feel about the tournament? Is LeBron just being LeBron and trying to push a narrative, trying to push the lead to certain stuff just because he was in position for this playoff tournament when he didn't think he will be, got a little arrogant? Or is he actually right and it's a terrible idea? I think Mark Cuban spoke on it too. Luka spoke on it too. So how do y'all feel, man? Like, we think it's a pretty good idea. It's not the most perfect thing, but I think the league accomplished their goal as far as getting interest in and getting teams to stop tanking and to have to stop a playing tournament. So let's know what you think, man. YouTube people, if you're watching or listening on YouTube, let's know what you think. People on Apple, give us a 5-star rating and tell us how great it is. Tell us how much it sucks, what we should do better at, what we should do worse at. I want to hear it all, honestly. I'm so serious. Like, let me know. Spotify people, make sure you subscribe and share with a friend. Anybody else, same thing, man. Show us some love and just let us know, man, how you feel on it. So follow us on social media. Follow me at BeBall Jones, BeBall Jones on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow my guy Nelson Haskin on Facebook, Nelly H34 on Twitter. And that's it, man. Tune in to us next week for some more great podcast episodes. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.